it deals with emotional, mental, physical, because everything that's causing a dis-ease in your life and in your body is created from these past traumas, abuse, relationships, traumas in your childhood, right? Whatever that is, that's blocking you and creating where you are right now, right?
Yeah.
And so that affects your relationship. It affects your body. It affects your mental. The minute you're willing to look at it from a different perspective and give yourself the power of choice to change it, then you actually get the power back and change it. And so that's why it's so transformational.
Stop playing in life. Let's go. Hey, stop playing in life. I want to see you happy. Right now's the time. Let's go. Hey.
Okay, today we have a woman of many talents with us, Mor Yelvington. She says she's merely an expert in overcoming relationship anxiety, but baby, let me tell you, she does so much more. Mor, tell us a little bit about how you started your journey as an entrepreneur and share with us your specialties.
Hi, Melissa. Thanks for having me on. And I'm so excited to be here. So my name is Mor Yelvington. I've been doing energy healings and coaching for about 17 years now. I've always been really attracted and intuitive to, dreams and energy. And this is just part of changing the collective, I should say. So I've been really helping women to overcome what's blocking them. And my goal with what I do is to help women change their reality as a collective. So as women together, we can change their reality, if that makes sense.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So me, in spite of being like an introvert, I've never really had relationship anxiety. So how does one heal their mental health, physical, emotional pain in their life in relation to their relationships? Does that make sense?
Okay, so I'm gonna backtrack a little bit and let's talk about energy. Okay, energy is our first language. When we're born, we have little babies, they communicate energetically. Okay, and so when we grow up in our house or in this world, whatever, an environment, in a classroom, and for example, somebody says something to you that really affects you. Okay, sometimes it even feels like a punch in the gut, right? Somebody just punched you with their words. And so even though that wasn't like a physical punch, you take that into you, and somewhere in your body, right, you carry it with you. And so what happens is you learn to or align and agree to it, or resist and react to it. And you start creating behaviors to adapt to that belief that you took on from somebody else. Okay, and so what does energy work do? Energy work, we find those places where you are holding on to those traumas, those beliefs, those fears that you bought from somebody else, really, not even from your own, and turn it into your own, and we clear it. And so when women come to me, it's almost always like a last resort. A lot of people don't know about energy healing. They're not aware of it. They don't know it even exists. Most of my clients are like, I never even heard of this, right? And they're like, ooh, it's kind of wooey, whatever. But the transformation happens so dynamically because we can pinpoint the exact stuff that's blocking you from being where you want to be. And so, it deals with emotional, mental, physical, because everything that's causing a dis-ease in your life and in your body is created from these past traumas, abuse, relationships, traumas in your childhood, right? Whatever that is, that's blocking you and creating where you are right now, right?
Yeah.
And so that affects your relationship. It affects your body. It affects your mental. The minute you're willing to look at it from a different perspective and give yourself the power of choice to change it, then you actually get the power back and change it. And so that's why it's so transformational. I don't know if that answers your question.
It did, because it actually made me think about my whole introvert thing, because like I was born with an injury. So I've always had to be like in my head, like all the time. So I guess that really explains why I'm such an introvert in a way. Like I never even thought about it like that, but that makes so much sense.
Yes, and now when you can look at it from this perspective, then you can go back and be like, okay, well, how much of this past stuff is creating my future right now. And then how much power would you have to change that if you just could find those things and shift them? And the cool thing is, aside from therapy, which I can tell you that, you know, I have my own fair share of, you know, childhood and abuse, whatever. We can not talk about that right now, but I've been to therapy. Like, I was in therapy since I was in 2nd grade, and I was in therapy until I was 18. And I can tell you that none of that really changed anything for me, because I can talk about anything until I'm blue in the face, but if I'm not actually releasing that energetically from the body, nothing is going to shift and change. And like I said, a lot of people don't know that even exists. But what happens is, you know, those blocks, they become a pain in your body. And so then it becomes an actual pain, right? Your back starts hurting you because of how much stuff are you carrying on your back, right?
Oh,
when are you going to be ready to let that stuff go and release your back pain? It's just your body being like, dude, release the mental stress that you have on me. I need some freedom.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been like, I went through years of counseling too, but even my counselor haven't even said anything about like energy. Like, my counselor didn't even talk about that. So that's really great. When it comes to like clearing out the negative beliefs and feelings that most of us walk around with, where would someone even start?
Well, awareness is the key. Okay. And if you want, we could do like a quick energy play if you want to experience some of it, because it's really easy. The cool thing about this work is that you don't have to relive your traumas. You don't have to really, you don't have to relive it. It's like, you've done that. You don't need to do it anymore. We're in a time where, magic can happen quick and easy, and you just have to want to change it, right? You just want to be aware of it and be ready to release it, because it's not serving you anymore. And the cool, amazing thing about our body is it's just, we've trained it to protect us, protect us. So if you had, for example, we can take money, for example, we could do a short, we can play. Okay. So take money. Now think about the word money and everything that comes up from when I say money, everything that comes up for you specifically for money.
Okay.
And just feel into that for a minute. And the first tool I'm going to give you as a gift is, who does it belong to? All those thoughts, feelings, emotions about money, does any of that belong to you? Or did you buy it as your own? So everything that is, are you willing to let it go? So if you want to let all that go, just return to sender with consciousness attached. And I'm going to say the clearing statement: right or wrong, good or bad, pan, pak, all nine, short, boys and beyonds. And just take a deep breath in and let it go. And just feel that kind of clear out of your system. Okay, and now also tune into your body for a minute and ask your body to show you everywhere it's blocking money from coming. And everywhere your body is blocking money from coming is because you've been hurt from money from the past, or you bought into the idea that money is, dangerous or dirty or greedy or whatever, you don't deserve it, all that stuff. And get a sense of how much of a block is that creating around you, right? So your mind is like, I want money, but your body is like, hell no, I have this big wall and you're not coming in there, right?
Yeah.
So everything that is, and everywhere you decide to build this wall, are you willing to now let go of all of that and release it? Yeah. So just get it energy.
Like, I know from experience, most people don't. They're like, I want money, but then they're like, oh no, I'm scared. I'm scared to ask for it though.
Exactly.
Some people are even scared to give away money. They're like, well, I need this, but I'm like, I'm always been in the mind frame of what I give out will come back to me multiplied. So it's like, I give out money all the time. It's like no big deal, because I've always been the friend who we could be walking in the mall parking lot and I'll find a $20 bill. And then everybody's like, how do you always have money? Like, how do you find money? Girl, I'm looking. I'm always looking for it.
Yes, I love that. But the minute you're open to receive it, it's going to come in so many different ways, by clearing these beliefs about money and being aware of that. And like you said, there's people that don't want money. They don't want money because of what they bought money is. But if you realize that money is just really energy, and it's safe to have it, and the more good people in the world that have a lot of money, the bigger the change we can make on our planet, right?
You're right.
The minute
I
we
talk
get
about
that
that a
and we
lot
can
too.
open those gates, it's all gonna
Like,
come flying in.
do you know what you can do with money? It's like all these things people keep talking about. Oh, I want to help this person and this person and that person. I'm like, you can't help nobody if you ain't even covered. Like money literally covers people.
Exactly. It's just an excuse to prevent you from being in your power and your true essence. Because if you had all the money in the world, you wouldn't be able to hide, would you?
No. Because
Yep.
people gonna, trust me, people gonna find you when you have some coins.
Yep.
Okay,
oh
so when people think about their relationships, like they never really consider that they have relationships in business. People often buy into like, well, I often buy from people I trust. Let me just say that. I'm one of those people. I'm buying from you if I trust you. Like, I'm not one of those people. I mean, like Amazon, anybody will buy from like Amazon person because we already trust Amazon. But like a person who has like a solo business, you're gonna buy from that person if you like them. Do you find it common that entrepreneurs have to have like relationship anxiety in their business?
Oh, I love that question. I feel like if you're not, if you don't have a relationship with your business, right, that's going to create an anxiety. And I feel like if you've experienced, right, abuse about who you are, and you're not in your body and you're not kind of committed to who you are as a person, that's going to cause anxiety in your business, right, in your relationship. And as a person, like you said, I buy from somebody that I feel I can trust. Well, how can you give that feeling of trust if you don't have that in yourself? So if you're doubting yourself, if you don't feel like you're enough, that's what's going to create that feeling of anxiety in the relationship to your business specifically, right? And how do you overcome those things, right? How do you overcome that feeling of not being committed to your relationship, not being enough, right? Not doing enough, not providing enough, especially as entrepreneurs. A lot of us have those like kind of like monkey mind, you know, like
Yeah.
bothering us. Am I doing enough? Am I doing too much? Right? Like all that.
Right.
But if you're confident in what you are and who you are and what you give, you don't have that.
That's really good. Like, that's really good. So it's clear that you're a coach. I'm one of those people who love having coaches, whereas there are a lot of people who believe they can do everything alone.
Yeah.
When it comes to accountability, since you've helped thousands of women, how would you hold your clients accountable to what they say that they want?
Oh, I love that. So I do a few things. Instead of goals, we set targets because you can move targets, right? And we also always go with the energy of what requires. We always ask the business. I always use my business as like its own thing, right? Its own entity. And I ask it, business, what do you want to create, right? Business, right? Like, what can we bring? How many people can we bring? And the thing is, when you show up for you, the universe shows up right with you, right? The minute you ask and you're open to receive and you don't have anything blocking it, everything comes in. It's those beliefs and fears that are blocking you from being in the place you want to be. And so the way of holding yourself accountable is really releasing all those judgments of what you think needs to happen and just being present with what is happening. And always creating from the future, right? I'm like, close your eyes, connect to what you want to create, and let's make it happen right now. And what are the steps we need to take to create that right now for you in your life? And what's blocking you, right? Is that, trauma from your childhood blocking that? Let's clear that up right away, right? I actually did a Facebook Live this morning about, blocking love and not receiving love, and how much of our like experiences from perceiving our parents' relationships, how much of that is creating the relationships we have or don't have or desire and create, right? How much of you as a child observing your relationship of your parents, aligning or agreeing or, you know, resisting is creating what you have right now. Okay, but that's also, if anything, money, relationships, your body, your health. Okay, so much of that we can clear and change if we're just willing to look at it from a different perspective.
I hope everybody is paying attention and taking notes, because I had an aha moment. When you say not to put things as goals, but as like a target, like it's only a flip of a change of a word, but at the same time, it like clicked in my head, like, because I can easily hit a target.
That's
but it
right.
feels like I can never reach my goals.
Exactly.
Like, what the hell?
Nobody can reach those goals. That's why, you know, everybody sets their like their New Year's Eve goals, right? Whatever,
Right.
lose 20 pounds, do this, do that. And then by February, everybody is like, forget about that. Because you can
Right.
achieve those goals, but you could totally hit a target, right? Yep, just change your wording and change your reality. It
Right.
really does.
That, like, wow. Because I know I'm one of those people, like, if I say I'm about to do this, I'll do it. But if I set a goal, it'll never get done. I don't do goals. That's what I did. Years ago, I stopped even bothering writing down goals, because it's like, they're just going to be sitting in a piece of paper for me to come find 5 years later and be like, oh yeah, I wanted to do that.
That's right.
You saying a target, I'm like, I do stuff like that, because I'll make a little bullet chart, then I'll just check them off. But I never considered that. Let me put this as targets versus goals, because I can check off my little targets, but the goals ain't never getting done.
Right. I love that.
Okay. So a lot of people do not feel like they can escape criticism and judgment, not only in their personal lives, but business as well. How do you help your clients gain a sense of peace and move on from caring about judgments, expectations, and drama?
Oh, I love that. Well, the minute you're in gratitude, you can't be in judgment. Okay. That's really important. If you can be grateful for anything, you won't be in judgment, not of yourself, not of anybody around you. Now, you're right. Being in this kind of reality, we're always getting judgment from everything, from everyone. One of the most amazing access consciousness tools, which is one of the methods I use, is interesting point of view. I have this point of view. I love this tool. It's a sentence, but energetically, it shifts everything. So if you can take anything that somebody tells you and be in your head, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. And I invite you to do this right now. Like, take something that maybe somebody said to you, or a comment somebody said, or an argument you have with somebody, and just say, like, take the energy of that, think about that conflict that you had, and then start telling yourself, you know, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. And do it like 10 times. You'll see that the energy of that shifts, because the energy of being an interesting point of view makes it so you don't align and agree or resist and react. It makes you this, like, kind of like standing there like, bring it on. And when I just started using these tools, I was like, okay, I'm going to go into discussions with people that are going to incite me, you know, they're going to light me up, and I'm going to be like, and see how I react to it. And I was playing with it, and it was amazing. Especially with my mother, for example, right? My mother knows how to push my buttons. She knows what to say to, like, ignite my fire. So I would be like, bring it on, right? And she would just say, and I was just like, interesting point of view, I have this point of view, right? And in the beginning, it was hard, you know, because it's like learning a new tool. You just have to use it, like riding a bike, right? You just have to practice. But the more you practice it, it's changed my life and so many people that I know and my clients. It changed their lives because it's so simple. You can use it on everything, on anything. I don't know if you have children, but if you have children, use it with your children. It changes the dynamics. It's amazing.
You know what? I was listening to a broadcast this past week, and somebody was like, well, everybody's an empath. I am not an empath. So I'm one of those people, I'm flippant. So I can get over, somebody can tell me something and judge me, and I'm like, whatever. But a lot of people are not like that. Like me, I'm just a whatever type of person. So Like, I don't even
That's
know.
the best way. Like, if you can really be whatever about it and it doesn't affect you at all, that's the place to be, you know? That's the place to be. And I feel the same way. I can tell you that with everything happening in the world and all the conflict and all the right and wrong, you know, that kind of stuff, this last year, I really had to use my tools a lot because it's really made to like divide you, I feel. And I'm not a divided person. It's not who I am. I love everybody. I really do. Like, I don't care, you know, you do you and be happy. You know, the more of us that are happy, the happier the world's going to be. Like, that's
Right.
what I want to do. And so the less we can be divided, even with our own self, right, about stuff. And that's the key. Just be who you are and don't let anybody shift and change that.
I totally get that, because let me live my stress-free life. Leave me alone. I don't care what you're doing. You over there and I'm over here. So we cool. Type of person.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. That's the energy. I love that.
So I do know that most women's confidence lies within how they feel about themselves when they look in the mirror. So how could an entrepreneur woman benefit from feeling sexy and alive at any shape or size and it spill over into her business life?
Okay, so what I do, what I've been really connected to is bringing back the energy of creation. Okay, in women specifically, I feel like the energy of creation is the essence of who we are. And we've shut that down in this reality, right? And the reality, you know, our environment shuts women down in so many different ways and so many different levels by judgment, right? Telling us how to be, how we're supposed to look, what we're supposed to do. And even if we, what's the word? Like, even if it's not, if you're not buying into it, you're still in this reality kind of,
Right.
okay? And it shuts down your energy of creation. And so one of the things I do with my clients is that we'll reconnect to energy of creation and we ignite that fire, right? We ignite that fire of creation. So you know the goddess that you are. So you remember. And so you're creating from that space. And so you do love your body. You do love who you are. How much of those judgments even belong to you? Right? How much of those judgments belong to you? Probably none of them. And so, you know, when you use the tools of who does it belong to, return to sender. When you look in the mirror and you say, who does that belief belong to? Return to sender with consciousness attached. You realize how much of the stuff in your mind and all the judgments on your own body and about anything really doesn't belong to you. We're an amazing energetical beings and we're just tapping into everything and everyone around us. And the more you use that tool, the more you're aware of, wow, so much of this is not mine and I'm just buying into it. And you have to decide to stop buying into it and being the confident, sexual, amazing being that you are, because that's what we are as women. We operate from the energy of creation. I mean, we are creators, right? We create children, we create this energy on the planet. And seriously, like, my super connection is to bring back that energy to our planet, because I feel like we've killed it, right? This reality has kind of killed that energy of creation. And the more women are awakened and, you know, awaken that power, the more we can shift and change as a collective, which is what I'm super.
I agree with
Does
that
make
because
sense?
I know it's like everything is pretty much indoctrination. Like pictures in magazines, stuff on TV. It's like every time you turn around, it's like, okay, they're only showing this, so this is what I need to look at. So we're pretty much judging ourselves against everything that we see all the time. And you know what? I always talk about how when we were little, I don't know how you are, but when I was like a good 20 or so years ago, butts weren't in. But now they're like popping. Like back in the day, I've always had a butt. But when butts weren't in, it was like I was a fat girl just because I had a butt. Right. But now that they're in, it's like, oh, she's thick. And it's like, girl, things just change all the time. So why do we even care as women? Like, we shouldn't even care.
Exactly. And that's just another way to control us.
Right.
But what if we didn't buy into that control? That's just another way to control us, right? We're talking about women liberation. Well, how many ways is this reality controlling you? How many ways is it telling you what you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to look like, how are you supposed to talk, what kind of mom you're supposed to be. I mean, and besides the fact that we're getting that from our environment and social media and media in general, we also get it from our families, right? You're supposed to be married by this age. You're supposed to have children by this age. Think of how much anxiety is created from a fucking timeline. Sorry.
Right. We were
right.
told,
Like, what if we didn't have that timeline?
30. I'm like, 30, girl.
Exactly.
Can I live a little?
But you know, it's funny. I was working with one of my clients the other day, and she was like, you know, she's 36. She's been in a relationship for 3 years, and she was all, you know, they're breaking up because he is not ready to have children. She really wants to have kids, but I'm like, how much of your happiness is determined on this lifetime, on this like lifetime that you've decided, right? That you can only do this and this by this age, that you could do this and this, like, and how much anxiety is caused just from that, from the idea of those roles you have to fulfill as a woman in this reality. What if none of that was really true for you and for who you are? What if none of that was true for anybody, right? Like, I was watching TikTok the other day, and this 20-year-old girl is retired at 20, and she's a millionaire making money from Airbnbs or whatever. And I'm like, right, the idea of retiring when you're like the idea of retiring when you're 65 doesn't really exist anymore for, you know, for this generation. Right. So why does everything else? We're in a time where we can shift and change all of that. It's just up to us to do that.
I'm like, yeah, but you know, women, I'm like, my biological clock is ticking. I couldn't totally understand where that comes from, though. That's one thing you cannot go against time with, for women at least.
It's true. But you know what? What you can do is you can look back at your past and decide that your past isn't going to create your future anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's what's happening with this woman. You know, the only reason they're not where they want to be is because somewhere they don't want to be it, or they're not ready to choose that yet. And the minute you're actually ready to choose that and create that future, you will create it. You just have to be wanting to do it, right? Like, if you really wanted to have to be married and have kids and have a family, you would have that, just like everything else. You're an amazing creator. You've created everything you have so far. So why are you not creating this? It's because for some reason, in some way, shape, or form, you're not ready for it. You're not wanting it right this minute, right? Or you're creating based on your past. So stop those abusive patterns and receive the things you want to receive in life, right?
Right. I remember when I was in counseling, and my counselor told me, girl, quit playing games, because I was at that point before in my life too. And like within months, I had found a man, got engaged and everything. Within a year, I was pregnant. I was like, because she told me flat out, quit playing. Like, what do you want? And sometimes we just need that somebody to come and tell us, like, girl, for real, what are you doing?
Right. Need to call you on your
BS. Right. So when you say you would like to see women empower themselves and reclaim their sexual power to change their reality, what do you mean?
So that's exactly what I was talking about with the energy of creation, right? So I call our yoni area, I call it the powerhouse. Okay. And so if your powerhouse is damaged in any way, right? If you experience sexual abuse or any kind of abuse that's directly related to you being a woman, which reported, we have 1 out of 3 women that experience sexual abuse. And that's reported. We all know that it's a lot more than that in one shape or form. But that's a direct effect on our sexuality, on who we are as women. Okay. And so our powerhouse then, from like this energetical circle, if it's damaged, all your energy and all your power is leaving, right? It's not circulating. It's leaving into other directions, right? So it's like, okay, you have like a trauma here, you're not healing it, then you're directing it towards somewhere else, and it's creating other problems in other areas of your body, right? And so by healing those issues, by healing those problems, okay, by healing that and clearing it and finding out the corporate of it and releasing it, right? You receive back that wholeness and connect to that amazing energy of creation, connect to your sexuality, because that's where the damage is normally caused, right? In that area. And we, again, resist and align, or, you know, to it in different ways, right? So for example, you know, you could be affected by it, and then you can use your sexuality to get attention. You can use your sexuality, or in another way, you can reject men forever, right? And hate the male energy, right? So it's the way you resist and align to it, or agree and react to it, is how you're creating your life.
Mm-hmm.
And so by healing that part of you and reigniting that power of creation in you, you have the power of choice, and everything is possible. So if you're willing to look at those places and heal them from the inside out, then you radiate that power, that sexuality, because that's really where we're creating from as women. We create from the orgasmic energy of creation. And when you let that fire up in you, like when I'm talking about it, you're feeling it. Like, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Right.
I'm talking about this, and you're like, first connecting to the trauma, and then you're like, oh, but this is possible for me. I know it's possible for me. And so it's there, right? We don't have to relive it. We just have to be willing to heal it, so we can choose from possibility, and we can have the choice again. What I'm saying is, right now, we don't have the power of choice. Right now, you're working from trauma and from abuse. You're not working from choice. You're not playing from choice. The minute you heal it, you play from choice, and then you can attract anything. And then anything is going to be attractive to you too, because you're going to vibrate on a completely different level. You're going to vibrate, you know, sexuality. And when, you know, when you like wake up in the morning and you are hot and you're wearing that outfit and you're like, heck yeah, I look like $1 million, and you walk down the street and guys are looking at you, and people are, and even women are like, damn, you look good, right?
Okay.
That's the energy of creation. That's when you're in that element. That's when you're like, yeah, you're with that sexy energy. That's who you are. But right now, it's just in like these tiny spurts when you let yourself shine through those cracks, right? Shine through those walls. I'm saying take down the walls and barriers, heal the stuff, so you can always do that. So you can be that magnet for everything in life.
So it's pretty much one, self-esteem and self-worth and confidence plays into it.
Definitely. Because all that stuff is stemming from something, from somewhere. Where did you lose your self-esteem, right? Where did you lose your confidence? Where did it go? Where did you let it go? Why did you let it go? Right?
That's
just
deep.
Destroy and uncreate all that.
That's deep, because, you know, most people are like, they think they never had it.
Oh, that's
but
not
I
true.
think everybody had it at some point, because it's like, where did it go? It had to be there at some point in your life, but when is the question? Did you let it go?
Well, you know, I told you, like, I work with so many women, and the thing is that when we dive into it, a lot of times when you were in your power, even as a kid, right? A lot of this stuff can be like childhood stuff. When you were in your power, you most of the time probably got abused, right? You were feeling all here, and then somebody came and shut you down. And so that's where you let it go. That's where you stayed. You stayed in a shutdown. And what I do is ignite it back up, right? We switch it back on. We get rid of that. It's like you've given your power away at some point in time. Are you ready to get it back, right? Are you ready to really reclaim who you are in order to make the change this world requires? Because that's what we need. You're here for a reason. You're here for a reason, and we need you to be in your full feminine energy power. Not shut down. No more shut down women.
I think I just discovered my own one just thinking about it. Like, literally just thinking about it. I just a 7-year-old occurrence, and I'm like, damn, that was it.
Yep. You see, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And every woman does. It's like, it's just another way to keep women down in this reality. And I don't think it's a conscious thing, you know. It's we're you know, when you do healing work, it's subconscious mind work. It's a lot of subconscious stuff that you're not aware of. That's why when I'm talking about it, it's coming to your awareness, because you're like, oh wait, yeah, that happened. But 99% of the time, you don't even know did this happen? You know, you shove it down so deep, you don't remember, you know, unless we bring it to your awareness. And so many women, the symptoms of it is anxiety, right? Depression, insomnia, you know, that's a lot of symptoms that, okay, you've had some traumatic experience happen, and this is how your body is coping with it and preventing you from, you know, being the infinite being that you are.
Okay, that's interesting. It's very interesting. Okay, since most of us here are entrepreneurs, what's one tip or strategy you could give them that they can take away today about overcoming relationship anxiety?
Okay, so the 2 tools we talked about, okay, is one, who does it belong to? I can't stress enough. There's even an app, you know, download it. It's like who does it belong to app. What I did when I just learned this tool is I put Post-its, who does it belong to, return to sender, and every thought, feeling, emotion that comes into your brain, who does it belong to? I had Post-its all over my house. My kids were like, who does it belong to? Right? Yeah. So everywhere, I had on my mirror and my car, just to remind myself. But there is an app, I think it's like who does it belong to app, and it rings on your phone to remind you to ask who does it belong to. Okay. And for everything, I can tell you that I've been using it on myself, even with body pain. Okay. If I'm walking in the street and my knee starts hurting, I'm like, who does it belong to? And it goes away. It's that amazing. It seems too easy, but it's magic. It's magic. It's because you know how you're having an amazing day, you're driving in your car, you're like, woo, dancing with the music. And then you get to the stoplight and suddenly you kind of feeling down. You ever get that? You're kind of starting going, That's because the person next to you is having a crappy day and you're buying into it as yours. And then what happens? You start trying to think, oh yeah, I'm really sad because this happened. Oh, you know, like you're trying to make excuses instead of just being like, who does it belong to? Not mine, return to sender and move on, right? Mm-hmm. So I highly recommend using who does it belong to. And the second tool is interesting point of view. We talked about that, but that would cancel any judgment that you receive. If you're standing in front of a mirror, you know, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. If you're receiving a judgment from a client, if you receive anything, right? Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. And just say it and feel the energy shift. I know it sounds really easy, but it changes lives. And if anything, I can tell you, it completely transformed my relationship with my mother. You know, we never had a really good relationship, and I can actually hang out with her and have fun with her now. And the stuff that she says does not bother me. So that's like a win for me.
Oh, well, I need to put it into practice ASAP because me and my mom is like oil and water. We're so much alike that we clash.
That was me and my mother. I'm telling you, like, but the minute I started doing this work and she's doing this work now, it's really shifted everything in a relationship, you know, because I have 3 little kids and she's an amazing grandma. And I just had to be really like, you know, this is okay, this is not okay, you know, and be really open to change it. And man, it's amazing. And even with my kids, I have an 8-year-old daughter. She's like a preteen. I don't know what's happening there, but you know, she's coming home with all the attitude, and I'm just like, interesting point of view.
Okay, like child, I can't.
Yeah. So I definitely recommend using both those tools. Just play with it, and see what changes in your life.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all the great nuggets you dropped today. And I really, really appreciate you being here with us today.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Where can everyone connect with you?
You can go on my Facebook or Instagram. It's Morph, Transform Your Reality. And I think you have my info. So maybe you can put it somewhere.
Yes.
DM me. I'm here.
Add all of her info.
I do free live energy healings. Check it out.
I'll add all of her info to the show notes because this woman is amazing and y'all need to hire her. Thank you so much, Mor. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for everything you do for women. It's amazing.
Thank you.
You're changing lives and realities. So keep doing it.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. Stop playing at life. Let's go. Hey,
You just listened to Melissa with Stop Playing at Life, because you know damn well you need to go out there and have a life.
Right now's the time. Let's go. Hey.